update Windows 10, and that took 24 minutes-ish, something like that. And then I had to open everything back up, and so it's possible you can't hear me or see me, or the board's wrong because I had to do everything from scratch. I can see me, and I can see the board. It looks right. So the only thing is, can you hear me? It looks like you can hear me. Yeah. Also, after my last stream, I changed a setting in sound property somewhere that you click it and it lets other applications take over your mic. So I unclicked it because I think what's happening is I set the volume and the sound in the computer out of the mic to the gain or the levels to 90, 91, 92, 93. And then often when I check, it's at the 20s. So it just moves it back down and then I move it back up. And, I should never have to do that. If I do it once a month, I don't care. And before every stream, I check. And a lot of times it's, made the volume less. So, yeah. So I just checked and it was right. It didn't change my volume. And this is the latest version of Windows 10, the latest update. So I figure I'll do it now. Because, I thought it would take 10 minutes. It took longer than I thought. But, yeah, whatever. It's all good in some hood. I hope you guys have money left over from earlier stream. Probably not. Truth hurts. I ain't got no money, honey. Blue looks good. Yeah. Tomorrow, I'm taking the day off. I'm not going to stream. I'm not going to do a game of the day because there's no game tomorrow's a rest day. And there's no Hikaru thing, and there's no anything. And tomorrow night's date night. So we're going to try to go to dinner and a movie. The trying is the first step to failure. Karen's still sick, but yeah, we haven't seen a movie since probably February. It's possible the last movie we saw was in Boston. We were in Boston in February doing a tour of MIT, and then there was a math competition that's called the MIT Harvard Math Competition. I like that. You're coming back on air tonight. That's funny. I'm on. Been on for... How long have I been on? For 3 minutes. All right. Good question. Are you going on today? Farnsley 69 subscribed. Hooray. Who needs the Quickie Mart? I do. That's okay, Dan Craig. We actually canceled the sub battle. Yeah. What's my all-time favorite movie? I got to answer this question 5 times a stream for 3 years. Pulp Fiction or The Godfathers. Either way. Yeah. You were at HMMT? So was I. One kid recognized me. I was there with Karen and Holden. Yeah, you were at the one in February because they have 2. This is the one at MIT. I think the one in November, I might be making November up, is at Harvard. Now you'll be able to say my name. Say my name. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Heisenberg, that's correct. So J. Rob, I think you were the one complaining in Discord. And Karen, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I think you were confused. That's my guess. The list of people who were playing was published and never changed. It was published 5 minutes before the sub battle. So you couldn't have seen it and then it was changed because you could only see it when it's on the stream. So my guess as to what happened, I'm only guessing, is you thought by signing up on Discord you were in. 800,000 people signed up on Discord and we picked 10. And by we picking 10, Karen picked 10. So you couldn't have been picked and then put on the screen. You were taken off because that didn't happen. So I don't know what you're confused about. It was displayed on both your guys' stream. You were in the 750 spot. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, you could be right, but I didn't see that. Samuel Balt subscribed. Anyway, I'll watch the video and I'll talk to Karen and we'll see if you're right. But nobody was replaced, so I don't know how that happened. Yeah, maybe you imagined it. Did you have a lot of edibles a couple days ago and you're still confused? Probably. Hikaru's team won 5-4, or the score was, or it was 5-5. That depends on your point of view. I say we lost 5-4, but Hikaru was being gracious and saying it was 5-5. Yeah, that depends on your point of view. Now, I very clearly said during the last game, we'll just say it's 4-4, and this will be the deciding game, and then our guy lost. Then he's like, I'll just call it 5-5, but, ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 5-4 is okay. The first spot was replaced or initial name changed to reflect the chess.com username. I mean, as far as I know, none of that happened. Now, obviously it did happen because you're complaining about it, but I'll talk to Karen about it. But she doesn't know what you're talking about. So, I mean, that would mean that they replaced you. That's possible. How did they replace our players? Lobo Newman 2. Subscribe. Thank you. Let's see. Samuel Balt subscribed. 19 months. You guys have money left after this afternoon? Good. Dropkick Morphe subscribed. Good. Yeah. You noticed the name change. Wow. That's crazy. I mean, I would never notice that. I never look at the list. I'm just seeing who's next. So I wouldn't have noticed it. But I told Karen, and she's like, that didn't happen. So I'll tell Karen what happened. She's at karaoke now. I'll look at the video when it's put up, and then I'll talk to Karen about it. But I mean that. Now it is possible you were replaced because of rating issues. We really wanted to have video game pianists play, but we couldn't. Apple Access subscribed. Immortal Evergreen subscribed. It's not clear who won the battle. It was either 5-5 tie or they won 5-4. That depends on your point of view. My point of view is we lost 5-4. So that's my point of view. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do another one in 3 to 4 weeks. And it's either going to be the same, but with more games, like 15-player rosters. Or we're going to do like what Yasser does where he tells stories. We thought about doing that too. So me and Hikaru just tell stories from, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago about chess. We might do both, but that was his idea. Debugger 2B, 999 centidues. Let's see. Thaddeus earned that point. Well, then it was 5-5. The Assassin Cat subscribed. Thank you. Farty Party 927 subscribed. Great. So I think, but I can't prove it because I would have to do like 10 seconds of work, that this is the most subs we've ever had on my channel. I'm not sure that that's true, but I think it's true. I don't think we've ever had this many subs. So another 20,000 subs and we'll catch up to the Chess Bros. 100 centidues. Thanks, Dan Dev. Yeah, 3167. That's about 800 more than we normally have. Yeah. So, I mean, what you're saying is weird because it's not weird that I don't know because I don't know nothing. But it's weird that Karen didn't understand. Farty Party 927 gave 200 centidues. But people are backing you up. Backed up. 100 centidues. I guess you just didn't donate enough. All right. Close Close to 4,000. Well, that doesn't sound like me. I guess you can check somewhere, but I don't know where. Drazzle or D-Razzle give 100 centidues. Hooray! The hype train thing on my stream says 100% level 3, but it's not going to level 4. So either it's stuck or like 1 centidue will put it over. I don't know. It's weird. Do you guys say level 3 100% or level 4? What do you guys see? I mean, it shouldn't stay at 100%. It should go to the next one. Yeah, 300. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. Lube. What's lube? Well, it's when you have sex with another person, but I just use it for myself. I need that. Okay, you can take it. Man, if you guys know what I'm referencing there, that's pretty good. That was a good scene. Okay, now I went to level 4. Thanks for the 100 centidues and the 1 centidue. Do you guys know what I was referencing there? Anybody? Anybody? Louis is correct, McJurgle. My favorite, $10, thank you. Go Ben, thanks, Iger. My favorite Louis episode, is the one with Ricky Gervais where Gervais is his doctor. I mean, nurse, come in here. Now, isn't that the worst penis you've ever seen? Yes, it's terrible. And she goes, see? And she's a nurse. It's a funny thing for a doctor to say. See? She's a nurse, so she would know. Oh, man. Now, it was a very specific AIDS test. The reason you got AIDS. I mean, Ricky Gervais was so funny. The truth hurts. Yeah. Another really good episode of Louis is, and since it was 419 recently, or 420 recently, is where, he can smell the pot from next door, and he knocks on the door, and he's like, look, I don't mind you smoking pot, but it's smelling at my place. Can you open a window or something? And he says, pot? What is it to smoke a pot? I've never done that. And then while they're talking, he just lights up in front of him. Your dog changed. My dog changed. My other dog. I think you've had too much. That's a great episode. And then he threw the water out of the window and it crashed the car. God damn. Yeah, those were funny. Yeah. 6 centidues, yay. Yeah. As Dave Chappelle said, hey, smoke weed every day. That was like the 20-year-old Chappelle, I think. The Young Ones is the greatest. Young Ones is top 5. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I used to watch the Young Ones before half the chat was born. More than half the chat. That was hilarious. Good thing I lived in Belgium, so I could watch BBC. 105 centidues. Thanks, Fireman. Juve Metal, 30 centidues. All right, we need some real donations because it's at 10%. Boo. Yeah. Snoop, I assume that Dave Chappelle stole it from Snoop Dogg, but I don't know. The Rock Obama, 1 centidue. His largest donation ever. Some people think Alekseenko threw the game to Nepomniachtchi, but I don't think so. And I always think people are cheating, but I don't think that game was cheating. I think he just played badly and got beat. 100 centidues, ecstatic broccoli. 2 centidues, wow, thanks. Now, I've talked about this on stream before. In 1987-ish, I mean, I could be a year or two off. I'm sure you'll tell me. There was the soccer riot at a game in Belgium. I don't even think either team was Belgian. But anyway, people were killed in the stands. And a friend of mine in Belgium, Michel Jadoul, Michel Jadoul sont les mots qui vont très bien ensemble. Très bien ensemble. He was at the game. He was in the stadium when the riot started. Yeah. So there you go. Let's see. 3 cents. Uh-oh. We got 30 seconds to get 4 subs. It smells like Updog or 1,500 Centidues. Either way. Sure, anybody has a chance against Magnus. You know, sometimes you're in good form. Sometimes you get lucky. Time trouble. Opening prep. Blunders. Yeah, anybody has a chance. It's a short match. Yeah. Yep, I remember that Farty party. No. It was 85, really? Cello list subscribe, thank you. Such strong support. 9 subs, 1,847 bits, Papa John's. You missed all the analysis. Bye, everybody. No, I haven't analyzed yet. Blah, blah, blah. I'm undefeated against Magnus. Yeah. Homomorphic 9 subscribed. Good, good. Magnus is so weird. Why is he so weird? Why not? Hikaru doesn't have a chance because he doesn't care. He doesn't. Yeah. I am the youth. Can you explain Lorena Bobbitt? To a youth? This is a story from over 20 years ago. I think it's over 20 years ago. Lorena Bobbitt was married to her husband. That's a good person to be married to. And she got very angry. I forgot what he did to make her angry. He did something to make her angry, so she was right. And she cut off one of his body parts. And then that became a famous thing because it's an unusual thing to do. Yeah. And so forth. Sometimes I tell Karen, you're the best wife. Much better than Lorena Bobbitt. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. It's funny, we saw a movie that was like a semi-documentary, I guess. I'm not sure if it was a documentary, but it was about Tanya Harding. And then when the movie ended, I showed the kids the Weird Al video, which has the Tanya Harding incident and the Lorena Bobbitt incident. So that was good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew he did some bad stuff. Yeah, I know I didn't know what he did, but it was bad. Yeah. Well, one of the reasons is the Weird Al video, which has Lorena Bobbitt and Tanya Harding. So, yeah. Yeah. Go Fabi. Man, we'll get to 3,200 subs this stream if we're lucky. All right. Okay, now when I do the game analysis, I'm supposed to just do it and not take huge breaks and make long stories and jokes because they separate the video, but okay, it's me, so sorry. Now, I didn't look at the games today. I just looked at bits and pieces, so I'm not going to know what's going on. So I'll just do it by the seat of my pants. And then the last game, the decisive game, I already did a video on that, so I know a lot about that. Rency Dota subscribed. Hooray. Yeah. I think so. On Family Guy, this is complicated, so focus. Quagmire is like water skiing with the usual guys, and a shark attacks him and bites off his and later in the episode, his dad, who became a woman, his dad's a woman now, gave Quagmire his because he doesn't have it, he doesn't use it anymore, and then they reattached it, and then they attached his dad's to him, and then there was a very funny line after that. Like, spoken like a man who, you have to see the episode. I can't really talk about a lot of it on the stream, but it's pretty funny. Yeah. Now, trying to learn, I think you're talking about Simpsons over there. Yeah. 2 hours for Columbus. So, from Columbus. You talking about Columbus, Georgia, or Columbus, Ohio? Yeah. I could do a whole stream of Futurama stories if you want. Yeah. No, I didn't forget the line. I'm afraid to say stuff from that episode on the stream because I get in trouble. Yeah. Perobo subscribe with Prime. Grischuk. Ketamine 1 subscribe. Columbus, Ohio. I lived in Columbus, Ohio before you were born. I lived in Columbus, Ohio from 1986 to 1988. I gave a simul at Ohio State University set up by the chess club president, and he never paid me. We agreed on an amount, and he never paid me. He still owes it to me. It happened like in 87. I've never been paid. I guess he disappeared. 9 centimeters. Thanks, Purple Faye. No, your channel points are worthless. Sounds like a Buckeye. Yeah, I've lived in Columbus and Ann Arbor. Columbus has interesting pizza. I mean, like, I can't even explain how they cut it to you. I mean, it's like 90 pieces of pizza in one pizza. They keep cutting it until they give up. They're like, all right, that's enough. We cut it 30 ways, so that's sort of funny. Yeah. And so forth. How much for your chair? Uncleaned? Interesting. Collegiate Chess League? I have not. Ann Arbor is a mean lady. I'm the best. I didn't get to play in the sub battle. Well, 10 people did and millions did not. St. Louis style pizza's not, you should be ashamed for saying that. We'll just assume you're being ironic. Yeah, nobody likes St. Louis pizza. It's the worst pizza on earth. You can't have worse pizza. You can try, but you can't. Columbus, eating at the first ever Wendy's. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Wendy's is from Columbus area. Yeah. Fisher, Random Chess, no. Do you like Detroit style like Buddy's? Yes. Buddy's actually has vegan cheese and vegan crust, so I can eat their pizza. Before I was a vegan and I was just a vegetarian, by far my favorite pizza was Pizza Popolis. I like Chicago pizza, and their Chicago pizza is better than the ones in Chicago. Well, that's possible. I love Pizza Popolis. I always got spinach and mushrooms. I always got the same thing. And then in Chicago, I like Giordano's, but I haven't been to the other ones. And Sarpino's was good, but I never went to the famous ones, just Giordano's, which I like quite a bit. And then we went to the tournament at Disney World, one of the Scholastics, And near our hotel was a Giordano's. I didn't know there were Giordano's outside of Chicago. And I was a vegetarian, not a vegan, so I got to eat pizza. Yeah. Spreadsheet, blah, blah, blah. Deflection in a beam? Good. Yeah. St. Louis pizza, the cheese on the pizza is not considered cheese by the U.S. government. And it's like if you put ketchup on crackers and you intentionally made it taste bad. Yeah. Unbelievable. The mic sensitivity still changing? Is that because I'm looking this way and then I'm looking this way talking into the mic? That's why when I stream alone, I stream alone. Yeah, with nobody else. I keep the mic over here so it's always facing me whether I'm talking to the stream or I'm looking at the board. But when Karen's here, I keep it over here because, Karen's here. Yeah. Etc. Yeah, I heard people like Lou Malnati's, yeah. I had vegan pizza today from Mellow Mushroom. It's really good. What am I gonna do? Let me check if the computer changed the volume. It's funny if it did. Not too funny. No, it's the same. Yeah, the volume's correct. Everything's correct. Everything's the most correct. I'll play alone. Everybody says that. No, Karen was here when I showered and dressed. She was already at work. Aren't you killing plants if you're a vegan? No. A vegan is healthy. Duchamp played a lot of chess. Never visited Spain. I have not. Drew, I'm glad you and Nakapuki squashed the beef. That's right. Squash that beef. The clothes your mother laid out for you. That's right. Great Seinfeld. Yeah. You were saying much dirtier things than I was. The important thing is nobody needs to know about it. Nobody cares. Oh, they don't, huh? Yeah, it seems like when people are murdered and they show it on TV, people are outraged. But yeah, if somebody steps on the grass, there's never a news story about that. I wonder why that is. All right, enough of the dumb people in the chat. Let's do some analysis, etc. So the first game we'll look at is Fabiano versus Liren. And Hikaru thought Fabi went too far, or not too far enough, whichever is funnier. They played a Rui Lopez, like a normal variation. Okay. Now in this position, if white plays c3, which used to be played every game ever, black can play the Marshall, which most super GMs think is like going to be a draw. So a lot of people avoid the Marshall because they just want to get some position and play for a win. So he played a4. That threatens to take on b5. So he plays b4 and then a5. Now a5 splits black's pawns, but sometimes you lose the a pawn. So it's double edge or triple edge. I don't know. All right. d6. Boring. d3. All right. And it's the boring variation. I've never been so bored. And Liren wants to pick up the pawn on a5. This is all theory. This is all prep. Yeah. Okay. And d4 is a very exciting move. Because now, like, all the pawns can be captured everywhere. So that makes the game exciting. And lots of pawns are captured. And then he played the move queen c8. So I'm guessing right around here they're out of their prep. And to be honest, I didn't really understand queen c8, but I guess it defends the a pawn. So if you take this, you're going to actually win it, because then you can't pick up the a pawn. So that makes sense. Queen's defending the pawn. You can double up on the bubble up, and in case of knight g5, your queen's defending the e pawn. So makes sense. Watson Bridge subscribed. Good, good. Okay. He said queen c8 was found at the board. Yeah, we're sort of like at the end of prep here. Okay, he developed his bishop, making his pawn more hanging. He wants to play e5. So, okay, and queen c2. That's sort of a nothing move. It connects his rooks. The queen's better on c2 than d1. And the engine likes white a little bit better, even though black is a pawn ahead. This pawn's more weak than passed. This center is fantastic. This bishop is shallow and pedantic. So white has a lot of play for the pawn. c5 trying to clarify things. e5 confusing the audience. And takes, leaving this terrible pawn structure here. And the engine says it's about equal. Knight c6, the knight's terrible on here. He wants to go here, wants to defend this, wants to push. Knight's terrible on a5. Okay, he blockades. Engine doesn't like knight e4. Take. And even though black's a pawn up, this is looking like a draw because the pawns are doubled and they've traded a lot of pieces. And this pawn, has the potential of being captured. Now here, the engine likes black's position quite a bit. It says several moves give them the advantage. Okay, he played rook to the other open file instead of this open file. It's got that open file. He doubled up on the bubble up, and he defended his pawn, put it in H. And yeah, in this position, I thought he played G4 here. I guess he played it here. So in this position, somebody on the chess.com official stream was predicting G4, and then he played G4. It might have been Danny, I don't know. Before he played G4, I got like 100 text messages from Matt Larson. G4, G4, G4. So that was good. Yeah. Now, there's two reasons to play G4. As I explained, and Hikaru corroborated, you must come in first in this tournament. And that's something none of you will ever understand, even though I say it every stream. If you're like, why did he go there? Because you have to win. To make my point and be wrong, but I'm trying to make my point. It's wrong, but I'm trying to make my point. If you played a move that had a 95% chance of drawing and a 5% chance of winning, or you had a 94% chance of losing and a 6% chance of winning, in the last few rounds, 6% is better than 5%. Drawing and losing are the same. You must win. And whoever wins makes a lot of money, a lot more than the other people who don't win. So in this position, if Fabi says, I'm worse, but I'm a really good defender, so I'm going to make this game a draw. Maybe he would do that in a normal tournament. But you have to win, especially when you're white. The tournament's about to end. And Nepomniachtchi is a point ahead of the field. You got to win. So you make the move that gives you the best chance of winning, even if it increases your losing chances. So that's why he played G4. Maybe if it was another situation in the tournament, he wouldn't play G4. I don't know. Grandmaster Gus gifted a sub. Hooray! Yeah, you got to win. Always win. Yeah. Okay. Then Queen E8, getting his queen over to the king side. Always play King G2. He put it in H. This is all very good play. Black's up a pawn. Black's defending his weak pawn. Black is attacking this weak pawn. And black's still a pawn up. And his queen's doing a good job defending everything here. The engine says white's slightly worse. Okay, and it gives this. It says this is right. Says this is right. And, when you trade everything, the game's usually going to be a draw. Okay, queen g6 is the best move because the knight's hanging and the queen's hanging. Okay, and now we're just in an endgame where black's up a pawn, but black has some suspicious pawns. So it's very difficult to win because white's not going to lose those pawns ever. He played the best move. He saved his pawn. And then f4. Now, I guess Ding was satisfied with the draw, but he played the right move. Rook d2, rook e2. These are the right moves. And obviously they're in time trouble now. And here, the engine says his move is fine, but it prefers king f7 or a5, saying black has a slight advantage. That loses this pawn, so that's a hard move to play. After king f7, you can't take the pawn because you're going to be in a bad rook and pawn ending, but you can play f5, and it's pretty scary. But he played knight d4, attacking the rook, and I think they just perpetual. Yeah. And this is fair because, black doesn't really have any winning chances because his a pawn is too, backward. Probably for the last 15 to 20 moves of that game, Ding Liren had the advantage, but he didn't really do anything wrong. He just couldn't win. Obviously when you have the white pieces, you should have the advantage. So Fabi went pretty far trying to win, and Ding Liren defended really well. So yeah, g4, g5, he tried, and he failed miserably. The lesson is never try. Livu Horvath, gifted a sub. Hooray! The more subs you gift, the more money I have. Grandmaster Gus gifted a sub, and another sub, and so forth. Okay, so that was the first game we're going to look at. Somehow we have 2,100 viewers, and we had 700. So I guess I'm being embedded or something. I don't know. Just embedded with Karen a while ago. All right. Then next game we'll look at is Anish Giri versus MVL. MVL's white. MVL was very close to winning this game, but he did not win. Close. Okay, they played a Sveshnikov. Okay, and previously in the tournament, Bishop G5 was played against Giri. I think it was round 8 with Nepomniachtchi. And Knight D5 is the move that was chosen a lot by Fabi in his match with Magnus. And way before that, it was the move chosen a lot in the match between Leonid Yudasin, the candidates match, and Vladimir Kramnik. Knight D5, I think, was played in every game. I think Kramnik was black, but I'm actually not sure. Yeah, etc. Okay. And this is the main line. You can play Knight B8 or Knight E7. Now, my brother, who was about 2,100 at the time, so it was like 30 years ago, 999, thanks, Drew. He had white in this position against 2350 rated Paul Pochel, and Pochel made a known blunder here. Knight G6 is the right move. Maybe Knight F5 is okay, maybe. He played A6, which loses. And my brother played Queen A4. And you're threatening Knight C7 checkmate and Knight D6 checkmate. So this is the only move. And white's winning here, but my brother lost in like 75 moves. That's unfortunate. Known trap in the opening. Magnus has played Knight E7 and Knight B8. In fact, he's so good, he played them both. And then his opponent resigned because he was up a piece. Man, harsh. Yeah. Mizu Chumaru subscribed. Hooray! Sounds like Mochi, the best backgammon player in the world. Go Mochi. Let's see. Sub battle. All right. So Knight E7, Knight B8, C4. And C5 is not a move that I know. However, I don't really know a lot of moves. So I guess you can't take because d6 attacks the bishop and knight c7 check. So he developed a piece instead. And they traded stuff. Now the engine's giving all these moves, so I guess this is still theory. I don't know this line at all. With white or black. And, Giri's just going to try to trade everything and win and draw the game. So white has the 2 bishops and the passed pawn. But there's always the argument, is this good? Or is black going to just win the pawn? Or is black going to, crush him? So white's slightly better, 2 bishops and a passed pawn. And a what else? So black's attacking the pawn, and white defends the pawn. Develops his bishop, never play f6. So h6. b5, bishop has to go to b3 to defend the pawn. Knight a6, he's trying to reroute his knight to c5. The engine doesn't like that. The engine wants to continue with a5. Always retreat. Excellent move. Now that the pressure's off this, it's pressuring that. Sacrifices a pawn, gets rid of the bishop. And probably Giri thought by playing knight a6 to c5 and taking the bishop, he'd have excellent drawing chances with the opposite color bishops. And white has double pawns. And he's right. The engine says it's between a slight and clear advantage. It's not sure yet. Okay, he put his rook over there, which the engine says is terrible. He wanted to play queen b6, which is not a move I would have played. Never play f3. Boo, boo. He wants to drop his bishop back here, since the bishop isn't doing much over here. I don't like this move. Not because it's, I just don't like that move anyway. Okay, kicks the queen away. Puts the rook on the open file. White wants to trade queens. And then, queen is pawn. And black said no trading queens. And big advantage for white. White's basically just a pawn up. So I would expect with 2 super GMs playing that white would win 80% of the time. So Giri's very lucky to draw because the pawn sacrifice, that didn't do it. So now he's down a pawn. He doesn't really have any compensation. And I think if 2 supercomputers were playing, white would just always win. But they're human. Queen a4, bishop c6, put it in h. Nothing much is happening. Nothing's happening. White's just a pawn up. Okay, and Giri's trying for counterplay. He's attacking f3 now. So queen f2 defends it. And again, white just has that. So, white should be winning. Okay, Giri goes for counterplay. Rook g4. And again, the engine says white's just doing great. White's 2 pawns up now. Put it in h. Thanks for the sub, MDTSF. Now, that move is not preferred, forcing the rook to take your e-pawn. He wanted to get luft, I understand. But he could have defended his pawn with queen c2. And then, I don't know, white's up 2 pawns. Good winning chances. But after this, with all the trading, you can't win this position. It doesn't even matter what the engine says. You can't win. Black turns on Netflix and chills. There's nothing he can do. If black needs counterplay, which he doesn't, white gets his queen here, I don't know. Then we can threaten mate here and can't defend it. Black will win if white not careful. But you can't move this pawn. This doesn't help at all. This double pawn is irrelevant. This is easily defended. So the engine finally realizes this is dead equal. So the opposite color bishops came to his rescue. When you have these positions, you don't want to trade all the pieces off. That just makes it more drawn. With more pieces on the board, you can see that black's queen is passive. It's blocking a passed pawn. So MVL really should have defended his e-pawn and made it difficult for all those trades to happen. And this is just completely drawn once they trade all the rooks. It's just drawn. And then they agreed to a draw here because he can't do anything. Black can play bishop c8 next move, and then move his king back and forth, or move his bishop back and forth. He could play bishop here, bishop here, bishop here, bishop here, and then that's it, just here. Or he could do nothing, and if white tries to win, he could checkmate him. And after thinking for like 2 minutes, the engine just says all zeros. It doesn't even think white's better here, because white's bishop is very stupid. It's defending the d pawn. If you move it, you're not defending the d pawn. So white doesn't have any winning plan. So they agreed to a draw. MVL was upset. He thought he had good winning chances. I think the only bad move that he played was h3. I think if he played queen c2, then he might have won. But I'm not saying he would have won. He might have. But after this, he had no winning chances at all. Yeah, the opposite color bishops really help in these kinds of positions to like block a pawn, because this bishop isn't helping. And, black's king is safer because he has more pawns in front of his king. So, yeah, it wasn't a great, Yeah, after queen c2, f5 is a move. Obviously, he was worried about stuff. He was like, well, I'm pinned. Yeah, f5 is a move. You can play it. Play it. The engine's not a big fan of that move, which is hard to understand, but I understand it, but I don't know if I would find it in a real game. Bishop b4, threatening the bishop. And I would think this is a good move. That's what I would think. But yeah, rook c7 is good. This is crazy analysis. And obviously in time pressure, you can't figure this out. I mean, engine can. It says this is best, this is best. Okay, now this pawn is a serious pawn now. Yeah, now it says white's winning. It says like plus 2.5. Now, obviously, nobody's going to see that in time trouble. Nobody's going to see bishop b4. And then, you do this and you give this up and you leave these hanging. But, it's an engine. So I'm sure that MVL was worried about that and couldn't calculate bishop b4 accurately, because it's impossible to see bishop b4. You got to move your bishop to defend this pawn. You can't go somewhere else. And you want to infiltrate here. So you're not only defending, but you're attacking. So it's a real good computer move. Not one you would think a human would find. And so forth. Yeah. Was e5 a move instead of h3? I think that opens up this. So that's probably not good. Yeah, that's... yeah, now black's probably winning. Yeah. Yeah, chess is difficult. Giri actually did a very good job of taking a bad position and getting as much and causing as much trouble as he could. And he caused MVL too much trouble. And then MVL just bailed out with h3, thinking he would be better with the passed e pawn, but he wasn't. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that too, why bishop a3 doesn't work. I thought that was an interesting question also. Bishop a3. It doesn't work because the bishop on b4 is protecting the rook. So in that variation I showed you, white's winning because the bishop's on b4. Now white's not winning. But yeah, seeing all that in advance, in time trouble, that's not going to happen. Yeah. Why not take with the bishop after h3? Your rook's hanging. I'll take your rook. h3 attacks the rook. Yeah. Man, questions are suspicious. Remember, more donating and less questions. Okay. You're so next. Wang Hao versus Grischuk. Everybody Wang Hao tonight. So 2 funny things happened in this game. The one you know about, you probably know both, is Wang Hao sacrificed his queen. It wasn't good, but, it was exciting. When I sacrificed my queen, I'm kidding. Wang Hao's not kidding. He just, his position sucked. And at some point between moves, I think it was move 11. Grischuk thought 72 minutes on a move. And I told Karen, and she said, that's it? Yeah. No, but I when I did game analysis yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? 2 days ago, when Wang Hao lost to Giri, and he was defending, and he capitulated. I said that's not how Wang Hao plays. This is how Wang Hao plays. Really aggressive, attacking, sacrificing. That's the kind of game that he likes. He almost won, even though he was losing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. No time left for you. Okay, so we have French defense. And this is an unusual move. Most top Grandmaster games start like this, including a game that we had in this tournament. It started like this. And here, black can play Queen b6, Bishop e7, take on d4. Everything is theory. Okay, and he played the other line, knight ce2. He's going to back that ass up. And now he's got connect 4. He claimed victory. They told him it was chess, and he was pretty mad. So now, Wang Hao's from China, so he has very strange analysis in this position. He thought this pawn was going to take here, and this pawn was going to take here, and the people, like, no. I have a funny story about that. The Chinese chess joke I made. It's Karen. Go Karen. So I was playing in a team tournament, MOTCF, M-O-T-C-F, the Midwest Open Team Chess Festival, or the Mid-Ohio Team Chess Festival, depending on who you ask. And our team had like 4 2400s on it, and we were the 4 highest rated players in the tournament. So somehow our team won. I don't know how. Anyway, I'm playing, and I played the French when I was that age, 2400, so I think I was 7. And I had a Winnowar, which is what I played with black. And I guess I played here, which is not a good move. But anyway, it's okay. So our board 4, John Reedy, who's 2400, his girlfriend was there, and she's Asian. And she didn't know the rules of chess, but she knew the rules of Chinese, and she told her boyfriend, "Oh my God, Ben hung his queen." And Reedy's like, "What?" It was funny because I didn't hang my queen. Yeah, shogi. Is it shogi? Is this shogi? What game do you do this? Chinese chess or shogi? I don't play either one. Yeah. I know shogi's Japanese, but is this shogi? Or is it Chinese chess? Or is it Go? Let's not Go. Yeah. Both Chinese and Japanese. Oh! You keep saying what shogi is. Stop saying that. I'm asking what game this is. It's shogi? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I won that game. She was very concerned. Okay. So he played knight ce2, which is rare. And, this has been played, but just not as often as the other line. Never play f6. Yeah, so I would, come on, man. Yeah. See, can I make that joke? Yes. Yeah, this reminds you of the one time that I flew in space, and I could see the Great Wall of China. There we go. Bam. Okay. Now, I think it was this position that he thought for 72 minutes. And Magnus was making fun of him I didn't see it, but I read it on Twitter later. Magnus's point was, there's one move in this position. There is no other move. And so he was just analyzing the one move for 72 minutes. That's what Magnus thought. He wasn't considering any other move, just let's analyze this move. Yeah. Boden's bishop, gifted a sub. Hooray. We're getting very close to 3,200 subs. So if anybody wants to donate 25 subs, that would be nice. Now, if I was black in this position, I wouldn't know what to do. I would do something. Probably I would do this or this. Because I don't see what to do with these. And the engine says those are the two best moves. It says this move is the third best move. That's no humans playing that. That's ridiculous. So he played the engine move. He played the best move. Okay. And the engine hates that move. It's really mad at that move. It wants him to take with this knight. It's furious at this move. And obviously, this move undefends the pawn on e5, and the other one doesn't. So, and now it thinks that black is close to winning. And he played knight c5, which the engine also hates. It's funny to think 72 minutes and then play a bad move your next move. Drew gifted 10 subs. Good, good. So, two moves the engine likes are bishop c5. So he's got pressure everywhere. The idea is the knight can't move because bishop takes e3. And then after e takes f6, which is forced, otherwise you lose your e-pawn, black is much better. The other move it likes is knight takes e5. Wow. And then after f takes, I assume. This is crazy. Knight f5 or knight f5, bishop c5. I would just assume white's doing really well here, and the engine prefers black, which really surprises me. I don't prefer black. So. All right, so he played knight c5, which is okay. Tuesday's green gifted 5 subs, but now black doesn't have any advantage. Okay, and they traded, always trade. Knight b3, always retreat. The knight's pinned. Now he attacks the queen. Queen d3. Why would he save his queen to sacrifice it later? Terrible. So they both save their queen. Bishop g2. I prefer white here. I think white's slightly better. Always retreat. Every move's a retreat. I like that. Including that one. I don't understand that move, but it's a retreat, so I'm not going to complain. The computer just castles, which makes sense to me. Okay, queen retreated again. Man, this guy should work for MVL. Retreating again. Castles. e5. Okay, now it's getting exciting. And e5 is the engine move because you want to not have a bad bishop the whole game. You want to get your bishop out. Okay, fe5. Bishop f5 attacking the queen. Good, good. Okay, and this is where Wang Hao went insane. Now, I thought incorrectly that, before we started the stream, that Wang Hao sacked a queen because if he didn't sack a queen, he was obviously doing badly. If he's sacking a queen, it's confusing. But it turns out that is not true. Wang Hao has many moves that give him an equal or better position. The simple queen c1, the simple queen d1, and the insane bishop takes d5 check because the knight is overworked. According to the engine, all those moves are fine. His move just loses, but it's crazy, so it's very difficult for black to play. So practically, it's okay. If two supercomputers are playing, it's not okay. But if people are in time trouble, then all three results are possible. Once again, I would argue maybe his queen sacrifice move makes it much more likely he loses than not sacking his queen. But it also makes it more likely he wins by a small margin. So maybe that's the right move because Wang Hao got to win all of his games. If Wang Hao wins this game and the next 4, he wins the tournament. Obviously, he's not going to do that, but you got to try. He can't promise to try, but he can try to try. Also, I have a question for the chat because I think I know the answer, but I might be wrong. $10 from Wallabout. Or is it Wallaboot? Is he Canadian? It's David Packman. Hooray. David, we got a lot of subs since you last came to my stream. Damn. Okay, so here's my question that you know the answer to and I don't. I think I know the answer. I've heard reports that Grischuk has played 10 rounds and has 10 draws. Is that correct? I think it's correct. Yes, no. He lost to Alekseenko. That is correct. So he had 7 draws, then lost to Alekseenko, then has 2 draws. Okay. No, I don't think it was yesterday. I think it was 2 days ago. Yeah. I thought today was round 5. Well, this is the second part of a tournament that's taking over a year. Yeah. 9 draws, 1 loss. And he was drawing quite easily against Kirill, but he went too far. Okay, so everybody likes the queen sacrifice, and actually they don't even care if it's sound. Just some super GM sacrificed his queen. Yay. All right. Okay. It doesn't lose, but it's not a good move. Okay. And then rook f8 is actually the correct move. If you take with a queen, which may look reasonable, bishop takes d5 check, and bishop takes c4 defends the knight. Damn. So rook here, and this way the queen defends the knight after bishop takes d5 check. So he played knight f4 instead because the pawn's not running away. Let's see. The engine wants to take this, but no human would do that. That's terrible. Yeah. All right. And this position, is pretty reasonable play since the queen sacrifice. And, white's just hoping to draw because he's down so much material. He has a bishop, knight, and 2 pawns for a queen, but he's probably going to lose his e-pawn. If he never loses his e-pawn, then he's fine. Maybe better. But if he loses his e-pawn, he's down a queen for 2 pieces. Okay, he played knight d4. Engine doesn't like that. That seems like a really obvious move to me. Queen d7. c4 is explosive. That bishop is a monster. Makes sense to me. Rook takes e7. Rook a e8. Now, if I was playing a blitz game or a bullet game against somebody my own rating, I would take white here if it let me choose. Because I think in blitz and bullet, white's going to do better than black. Because I don't know how to activate my queen, and everything white has is perfect. And if black makes a mistake, he could lose, get mated, So I think in a blitz or bullet game, I'd take white. And in a slow game with 2 supercomputers, black just always wins. So, all right. He played bishop f7, which is a very bad move. Obviously, he's in time trouble. The engine wants to double it up on the bubble up and just says black has, a big advantage. But when he played this move, I'm certain he missed what Wang Hao did, and what Wang Hao did was right. Knight takes g7. That's a very hard move to see because it looks stupid. It looks like king takes wins and rook takes wins. And as I said in previous videos, this is Wang Hao's kind of position. Not the one he was defending against Giri. He didn't like doing that. Terrible. All right. Bishop takes there is another mistake, and now black's not even better. But he's in time trouble. So let's look at the 2 obvious moves, rook takes and king takes. If king takes g7, 2 bishops, what else? And the problem with moving your king up is now you're really moving your king up, and you would expect that white was winning here because this looks nuts. But the engine actually says it's a draw. And it says white has more than one way to draw. You can take this and then take this, or play h4. And, the engine is playing some perpetual with h4. So if you want to win with black, you can't move your king up. So you play king g8. That's the engine move. And then you do this. Takes, 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 takes. Now, if you're in time trouble, it's not clear at all who's better here. It's a bishop and 2 pawns for a rook. But if you let the engine think long enough, it thinks black has good winning chances. In my opinion, this should be a draw. But in an endgame, rook against bishop and no other pieces, the rook's just a million times better. Even more than 2 pawns. In a middle game, then white's winning. Bishop and 2 pawns is better in a middle game. But not an endgame. Endgame, the rook comes in and attacks everything, and the bishop says, why'd you play a6? My bishop can't do anything anymore. So this is actually better for black. And then the other move is rook takes e1. That's the other good move. Bishop takes is forced. King takes is forced. And this is what the engine's giving. And it's the same kind of position. Bishop's probably better here. So black has the advantage. Now, Grischuk may have seen that, or he might have had seconds on his clock. So instead he took this, and now it's just a draw. Yeah, in fact, after knight f5, which I'm sure is very hard to see. Now, the thing is, if you don't play knight f5, you're in a lot of trouble. But now we're threatening the queen, and we have mating ideas, bishop d4 check and knight h6 mate. I actually thought black was losing here when I saw only this position. But black's fine here. There's nothing wrong. And the best way for black to play, which I don't think was play, he played there, that's the second best, is queen e4. You have to play bishop d4 check, and you take it. And then you take this. And white's slightly better because white's up a pawn, and it's possible rook a1's the best move. Possible. I think after rook anywhere else takes, it's just a draw. Problem with rook a1 is, rook here. And, your rook's no good. So, this is probably a draw, but he played queen f8, which is also a draw. Thanks, Jude NYC, for the sub. Okay, bishop d4 check, king here. He stopped knight h6 mate. If the queen wasn't there, that's checkmate. And then c takes d5, and black is in all sorts of trouble. King's trapped, queen's no good, knight f5, pass d-pawn, Papa John's, all kinds of stuff. The engine says white is slightly better, but Grischuk's a good defender. He put it in h. Now he's not getting mated anymore. The engine actually prefers h6, which, if I'm a human, which I am, h5 makes more sense because your king has more squares. Your king's still a little trapped after that. I don't know why h6 is better than h5. If I saw h5, I'd play it too. d6 is the right move. Thanks, Plight 999. King h7, excellent. Knight e7, excellent, threatening the queen. Stopping rook f7 check. Rook f6. Rook d8. Always retreat. And this is correct. And this is just a dead draw. There's no winning chances at all for black. And the engine says black is slightly better. How? You can never win. And when I say how, I should have said Grischuk. Okay. The only way black can win is to take this. If he plays a3, he ain't going to win. Yeah, okay. I didn't even see the rest of the game, but once you play a3, you can't lose. Yeah, if anything, white's better. And they just agreed to a draw here. Because there's no winning plan. White moves his rook on the fourth rank, and that's it. Yeah. So, very fascinating game. Both sides had winning chances. Terrible time trouble, which is always the case in Grischuk's game. And pretty good play for, the amount. See, some games have more mistakes than other games because for the players involved, the moves are easy to find or not easy to find. If they're easy to find for both players, the players play great. These players. If every move is super complicated and the material is imbalanced, they make more mistakes. And that's why players like Shirov and Morozovic, when they were in their prime, they made more mistakes and their opponents made more mistakes because the game was very confusing. By making the game confusing, both players make more mistakes, but you get less draws, Mikhail Tal and so forth. So that's, this game was insane, and it ended in a draw because both players played very well. Good game. Yeah. Rook f6 versus rook f5. Here? Rook f6 defends my passed pawn, and rook f5 doesn't. And this is still defended. The engine likes rook f5 more. I don't know why. I guess this is an idea, and you can't play that idea because you take it. Okay, now it says it's equal. Here, I mean, the pawn's defended, so you can't take that. Now your pawn's attacked. You could play rook here, trying to mate the guy, or bishop. This actually explains, if this is good for white, if that explains why h6 is better. Because then the rook can't go here. Who's going to see that? Okay, now it says everything's just a draw. Like, this is one of the main lines. And then this is the other main line where white tries to keep things as they are. And at the moment, the engine likes king h6. Probably Wang Hao would have had better winning chances if he played rook f5, because it looks like Grischuk has to play more accurately. But it says it just says all zeros. So it's still equal, but maybe it's harder for black to equalize after rook f5. So good question. Yeah, this is an interesting idea, because that idea don't work. Truth hurts. Recently became a super GM. Yay, hooray. Hello, fellow Ben. Go Ben. Go Spencer. It's Spencer. He's leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when he'll be back again. Okay. And the game of the day, many people say that was the game of the day. Now, looking at the games in a vacuum, that was the game of the day. But with the tournament situation as it is, this is the game of the day. And some percentage of people, I don't know what percentage, think that Alekseenko took a dive, that he lost on purpose. I always think everybody's cheating, but in this case, I don't. Now, if it was proven he cheated and he confesses and says, this is what happened, I lost on purpose, okay, then okay. I'm not shocked, but I think he just lost. I think he got outplayed. And there was a lot of complications this game. It was a hard game to play. And he definitely made a couple of key mistakes at the end of the opening. So they played this fake Catalan line. Okay. Now, as I explained in my video, in the Catalan kind of positions, this isn't exactly Catalan because the pawn's not here. I'll go there later. This bishop has an issue. And the two ways to solve that issue, which we saw in Anish, Giri, Wang Hao, are here. Or in other games, b5, bishop b7. Well, you can't play here. So it's going to play b5, bishop b7. And queen c2, you can't play b5 because then he unleashes the latent potential. And if you had more than an 8th grade education, you would know the difference between latent potential and actualized potential. So this is bad because I can move my knight here, attacking the rook, and then my knight's going to c6, and I'm winning. So these moves probably both win. Okay, so he played c5, which is the main move, and then knight c3. Okay, now, at this point in the game, Alekseenko's played fine, and Magnus has had black in this position a couple times. And here, Alekseenko showed a not good understanding of the position and just got outplayed and lost. And he was losing like 5 moves later. Thanks for the 100 centidues. Tuesday's green. He likes the Marin book on this line. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think any of that happened, but I guess it's funny if it happened. Everybody's live. Everybody's alive. Everybody's friend requesting me. All right. 9 what? Oh, I have texts? Oh, yeah, I already saw those texts. All right. Well, this is fine. There's nothing wrong with what he did here. Now, obviously, when you're playing Jan and you're preparing for him, this isn't what you prepare for. You're preparing against e4 and d4. You're not preparing for some boring strategical line because you're just playing chess. And probably Nepomniachtchi decided to play c4 and g3, for this particular game So Alekseenko couldn't do big prep on e4 and d4, that he would have to play on his own pretty early. And if you don't prepare this line and you don't have games in it, you're not going to remember so much. Now, I'll give you guys a master class in how to play this with black, also a grandmaster class. Black needs to play b5, bishop b7. And some would argue if he does, he's even better, because your pawns are here and white's pawns are there. And you can't play b5 because knight here and the rook and the knight c6. So because of that, the best move is queen c7. This has been played by Magnus and many other super GMs. And the idea is I'm going to play b6 or b5, bishop b7, and everything's fine. And if you don't play bishop b7 in the next 3 or 4 moves, you're not going to play it. These are going to stay here the whole game, and you're lost. Strategically lost. Not the kind of lost you understand, the kind of lost that like Magnus understands. So he didn't do that. He just played shallow and pedantic. You got to play queen c7. He played boring move. That doesn't help get the bishop out, which is the point of all of this. The point of a6, c5 is to play queen c7. It seems like he didn't know that. d4 is great, and now this is just terrible the rest of the game. Now, it is a symmetrical pawn structure, and nobody's ahead material, but black can't move his queen side, like ever. So the engine says that white's close to winning here. Okay, knight b6, queen c7, and finally knight b6. Maybe his bishop can get out. Maybe. So Nepomniachtchi hasn't really done anything. He put his rooks in the middle and developed his minor pieces. And he's close to winning because we can't get these out. And unless I calculated a reason not to, which he might have done, I would play bishop d7 here. Even if it goes to e8, that's better than c8. Then the other rook can go to c8, the rook on a8. And the engine says black's doing terrible after that move. So he played e5, which actually is the engine move. And that gives away the f5 square and the d5 square, but you're not suffering as much. And I would play bishop f8, but he got rid of his bishop that wasn't doing very much against the beautiful knight. And white has 2 bishops, and they are very good bishops. That's some good bishops. He's got his rook lined up with a queen. His queen is really strong there. And, black's pieces are just, shallow and pedantic. Knight c4 is the engine move. Bishop at g5 is the engine move. And this has a very funny threat that you rarely see in top-level chess games, which came to fruition. And then I think it got kicked out because fruition was closed that day. Anyway, he played rook d1, the engine move. Plays a lot of engine moves for guys losing on purpose. Knight takes exclam, former muscle. Not only defending the pawn, but pinning the knight to the queen. Rook takes is much worse. This is just winning. Okay, rook d8, not the best move. Probably queen d8's the best move. Then if you take the knight, I take this knight, then the knight's not pinned. But obviously, it's move a million and the rook is still here. So rook d8 makes a lot of sense. Bishop takes f6. This is the threat that white has after queen f5, which is very funny to me. Take bishop e4, and you can't play g6 because your bishop is hanging. So materials equal. Black finally escaped from the bind. Opposite color bishops, and he's dead lost. Truth hurts. Queen a5. He wants to get counterplay. He unpins his knight. If you take the knight, the queen and the rook come in. And maybe just the rook, because you want to get mated. You don't get mated, though. Bishop d8. So maybe. Okay, so he played knight c3. And that's an excellent move. King f8, doesn't want to get mated. Knight d5, he wants to mate him, threatening 2-move mate. And now, with the knight not being on d1, rook takes c4 as a threat. There's no knight to win on d1. He defended his knight. He threatened mate in 1. And as I said in my video, white only has one winning move here, and I got chastised by the gawking rabble. They were like, 2 pieces are attacked, so obviously this is the only move, frankly. Easy to see, nothing else to look at. Maybe, but this might lead to a draw with opposite colored bishops. So you have to be sure, that when you play all this variations and you allow this, that you're still winning. Good judgment on his part. And e4, the engine doesn't play e4. I really like e4. That's a great move because it solidifies the bishop here forever. It stops you from taking this forever, and it stops you forever from playing e4, e3, which could lead to a draw, or bishop d4. e4 is great, and probably a better engine than the one I'm using. Running, with a lot of core would play e4 because it's such a good move. It's just a great move. The bishop's here forever. This bishop's trapped. Pawn is safe. King is safe. Papa John's. Okay, he checked, and queen c8. It's an excellent move because, you're getting checkmated over here. In fact, if he plays c3, it's a forced mate. Obviously, you can't go here because it's mate in 1. So you have to go there. Then there's this check. And this is the only legal move, and therefore the best move. And then mates. So you can't play c3. And it's funny, he couldn't play c3, so he was PO'd. He's like, I want to play c3. So he stopped queen c7 with mate. And now he's down a pawn, and this pawn is weak, and this pawn is weak. This is the best bishop in the history of chess. And this bishop, sucks and blows, which is physically very difficult to suck and blow at the same time, but it does. Trade queens, which is probably a draw. Obviously, he's not trading queens. And here he resigned. King e8 loses to bishop c6. King d8 loses for a couple reasons. We can check here and win this pawn, or we can check here and win this pawn. I don't know. And queen d6 runs into the same problem. You're going to lose one of your pawns here. And then you'll be down 2 pawns. You have the worst bishop. Your king is exposed, etc. Mainly, etc. So here he resigned. And that was a very good game from Nepomniachtchi. He played fantastically well. He made a lot of really good moves. A lot of his moves were just great. And, Alekseenko didn't play his best game, and he couldn't defend the much worse position. And it all started when he didn't play queen c7. He didn't know the opening in that particular position, even though there were some super grandmaster games, probably because he didn't look at this opening. It's really unlikely Nepomniachtchi is going to play this. He plays e4 and d4. You got to be ready for that. So he got him good in the opening. He played an opening Kirill wasn't expecting, and he made a mistake right away. Also, etc. Yeah, sub battle was good. Candidates is good. It's amazing how many draws there are when it makes sure that you can't win the tournament. That anybody wants to draw is crazy. Now, if you're in 8th place now, or 7th, and there's 4 rounds to go, you're not going to win the tournament. So, maybe if the guy in 7th goes 4-0, maybe. I doubt it. Maybe. I don't think so. So, if you don't win the tournament, then you care less because you're trying to win the tournament. Man, if you win the tournament, then you get everything. Yeah. You get world championship. Maybe you become the world champion. If you win the world championship, now your appearance fees go up in tournaments. And now people will pay you to do stuff online. The women won't get off of you. Like, go away, leave me alone. World champion. And then you get to play another world. That's the best part of being a world champion, beating the world champion. If Magnus wins, all right. But if somebody beats Magnus, they get to play for another world championship next time. So, and that's, you get the world championship money, then you get it again. So potentially, I think the over-under is like $4 million of if you become world champion than if you don't win this tournament. So the potential is great, right? So you got to win this tournament, and there's 4 people who can win. The 3 people who are tied for 2nd, and the guy who's in first. But remember, if Nepomniachtchi loses one game and one of those guys wins, they're tied. So it's very close at the top, and it's very nerve-wracking, right? If Nepomniachtchi's net worth is $200,000, probably less than that, and then he wins this tournament, now his net worth is more, a lot more. So it's it changes your life. And if he wins the world championship, whoever does, if Magnus loses, that changes your life again. And then you guys make fun of the guys for not playing well. Man, harsh. 600 centidues. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah. Now, in my opinion, anybody can beat Magnus because, Magnus is the favorite, but he's not like he wins and then just showing up. Magnus is in his 30s. Magnus hasn't been dominating like he did 5-10 years ago. Other players are getting better. Caruana's rating's really high, and he's doing well so far. Nepomniachtchi's highest rating he's ever had. It just depends on form. If Magnus isn't playing well for some reason, and the other guy's on fire, that guy's going to win. But obviously, Magnus is the favorite against anybody. But he's not a huge favorite. He's a favorite. Truth hurts. No, I don't think Nepomniachtchi is a bad matchup at all. I think it's a good matchup. Running Fool, 200 centidues. You fool. How did Fischer dominate his candidates matches? Well, the problem with people who discuss who was good and who wasn't is people have very short attention spans. So if you talk to the old guys, guys in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they'll tell you how good Capablanca and Alekseenko and Fischer and Spassky were. And if you talk to people now who are in their 20s and teens, they're like, those guys were no good. Only Carlsen's good. And people that are really young are like Kasparov, I mean, Fischer won 1 million games in a row against GMs. I mean, nobody does that. Nobody. 20 games in a row against grandmasters. That's not done. And that's because Fischer was so good. Fischer was just an unbelievable player. And Kasparov was an unbelievable player. The thing is, the difference between Kasparov and Magnus is when Magnus wins the tournament, and sometimes he doesn't, but when he does, it's very close. Magnus gets 8, and second place is 7.5 or 7. You're like, yay, Magnus wins again. When Fischer and Kasparov won tournaments, it wasn't by half a point. Kasparov, for example, Tilburg, 1991, I think, could be 90. Kasparov got 12 out of 14 in a double round robin with 7 top players. And second place was Korchnoi when Korchnoi was good, 30 years ago. He got 8.5. And Kasparov got 12. What? And Kasparov did that a lot. He won tournaments by 2, 3, 4 points. When Kasparov was getting GM norms, and the reason he wasn't a GM earlier is he played only in Soviet Union, so got to play foreign players. When he was getting GM norms, he was already really high rated. He would get the GM norm with 4 rounds to go. He's like 5.5 half out of 6. Oh, you got the GM norm. What? Yeah. And Kasparov was insanely high rated compared to his compatriots, as was Fischer. Carlsen's a little bit higher rated than Caruana. Sometimes he's a little bit higher rated than So. Sometimes Aronian. Some guys get close to him but never pass him. Fischer and Kasparov were 1 million points higher than number 2. They were way better. Way better. And I don't know if this is true. I don't know. But somebody told me. And it's not something you would make up. But maybe he made it up. I can't even investigate it because it's too long ago. He said when Fischer beat Spassky in the match and Fischer won by 4 or 5 points, Fischer lost FIDE rating points. And Fischer won the match easily. He forfeited a game, and he lost the first game. He still won easily. but he lost rating. And when Fischer's USCF rating was like 330 points higher than number 2. I mean, it's insane. Fischer and Kasparov were good, but you guys weren't alive then. So you're just like, yeah, I guess they were good. But now, Carlsen. I mean, I wasn't alive for Fischer, but my dad was. And I've seen his games, and I've seen his results. He's crazy like Fox News. He's crazier than Fox News. God damn. Nobody's crazier than Fischer. Nobody. And Kasparov, I was there for Kasparov. I mean, I've seen him analyze when he was good. Now he's not good. But when he was good, Carlsen ain't better than him. Kasparov saw 100 move variations every move. That's probably why he was 2860. 20 years ago. Man, harsh. Hype train, it's dying. Boo, boo. Kasparov donates better than you guys too. Yeah. Econ subscribed to tier 1. Hooray. Yeah, it's funny. In the 70s, the highest rated players in the world were between like 2570 and 2630 in the 70s. Now the highest rated players in the world are 2770 to 2870. Yeah, crazy. Must to inflate ratings. Also, etc. Lasker was good. Kramnik was good. Yeah. Rating inflation is very complicated as to why it exists. It would take me a whole stream to explain why there's rating inflation. But there is. A lot of rating inflation happened due to a curiosity in FIDE's rating system 30 years ago, which I don't think exists anymore. I don't think they do this. But in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the lowest FIDE rating that was possible was 2200. Nobody was FIDE under 2200. It didn't exist. So you played in a FIDE rated tournament. You didn't have a FIDE rating. If your performance was 2200 or over, you got a FIDE rating. And so what happened a lot is people who were rated 2200 to 2260 FIDE, they lost their FIDE rating. They're 2210. They lose 15 rating points. They're not FIDE rated anymore. Now, what they should have done, obviously, which would have caused them 5 seconds of work, so they didn't do it, is keep them on a provisional list only they know about. You don't know about it, so the guy doesn't have a FIDE rating. And then when he plays in a tournament, you take what his rating would have been, 2190, and then you see how he did, and if it goes over 2200, you publish it again. They didn't do that. They just said you're not rated. So then, if you played in a tournament, had a 2340 FIDE performance, you're 2340. Now, if you were 2210, you'd be like 2235. But if you don't have a rating, you're much higher. And that happened with a lot of people. And the most famous example is Eric Schiller. He did that all the time. He was 2205. He wasn't rated. He was 2330. Then he lost his rating. And then he's ridiculous. Yeah, thanks for donating to the train. I appreciate that. Except for one thing. 200. Go Gingy. Okay, Gingy has a lot of scams. Okay, a lot. I could do a stream about that. But I'm going to tell you my favorite one. My favorite Gingy scam. He wants to be the highest rated player on ICC, the site you never heard of. And he had a friend who was like 2,000 strength. And he'd play on the guy's account. And the guy got to 25, 26, 2,700. Then he would play 1,000,000 games with that guy. So that guy's 2,000. All of a sudden he's 2,600. Then Gingy plays him and beats him every game because the guy's 2,000. And the guy loses until he's 2,000. And then Gingy's rating just skyrockets. Now, if Gingy's beating a 2,000, that doesn't matter. But if Gingy's beating a 2,600, his rating goes up. So I like the way he would artificially give the guy's rating, then go back to normal, and his rating would just keep going up. That's funny. Good scam. Idiocrat 93 subscribed. Mayhem on E4 subscribed or gifted a sub. Hooray! You guys are the best. Yeah. Okay, we need 10 subs to get to 3,200. Go, everybody. You miss ICC? It's still there. Go to chessclub.com and play on ICC. Still exists. Not only does it exist, they were holding online tournaments for Goichberg for several months. That's where he put his online tournaments. Do I have to give 10 subs? Because that costs money. Well, Ryan C3483 subscribed. His name rhymes. Ryan C3483. Good. FICS still exists? God damn. Really? FICS was before ICC. Damn. That's 35 years ago. Man. That's crazy. I think people like to play Bughouse there. Somehow they have good interface for Bughouse, ICC and FICS. I'm not saying that's true, but that's what I heard. Yeah. Previous login was 1996. No, I mean, the best Goichberg story is him not knowing about this TV on the wall and wanting to take the TV off the wall and put it in his house at the St. Louis Chess Club. Nothing's funnier than that. 100 Centidues, taller Petrosian? Tall. Go tall. Soviet Russia, Georgia, that's right. 3191. I may have to donate subs because I want to have 3,200. Terrible. I can't believe I'm spending money. Boo. Boo, Ben. I'm not going to donate it all, though. You guys got to help. Oh, my God. I hope the payment processing doesn't work. Was Reshevsky ever the best in the world? No. Would Tal be any good today? Well, he's dead and rather pungent, so I don't think so. Was this agreed to a draw? Black resigned here. The engine says plus 3.2. Radius 89 gifted a sub. Thaddeus gifted a sub. Hooray. Cornhusker subscribed. Hooray. 31.99. Good number of subs. Plight 999 put us over the top. Why he resigned? He's down a pawn. He's going to lose his second pawn. His king is worse. His bishop is worse. So he resigned. I already explained why he resigned. If he goes here, this wins the queen. And if he goes here or here, you're going to lose either this pawn, or both. And he has no counterplay. The bishop's terrible. Can't get to a good square. If it was here, he might not resign, but jump over the pawn. At the Super GM level, this is a very easy win. Agreed to resign. That's right, Spencer. Yeah. Spence, we had to move up our housekeeper. She wanted to come 11:30, and now she's coming at 12:30. So I should get home just in time. And you'll have to give me a key, I guess. If you forget that, I can't do the cat stuff. So hopefully you won't forget and I won't forget. As long as one of us doesn't forget. And then make sure you bring your driver's license. And let's see what else. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I hope Krista's not picking up at the airport. I hope it's like Uber or Lyft. God damn. Or, a car service, I guess, if it's New York. No. Jan could be the next world champion. All right, thanks for giving me hundreds of subs today. 3,200 subs. I think it's the most ever. Trying to Learn disagrees. He thinks we had more at some other point. The truth hurts. Okay, so I got 2 people I could raid. If you can call them people. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good one. All right, I've been raiding the same person forever, so I'll raid somebody else. Terrible. Go Jan. Not Levy? What can I do? Why can't I raid Levy? Let's raid Levy. All right. And so forth. 3,000. Yeah, but 3,200 is more than 3,000. Yeah. That was not put down. All right. See you guys Friday. I'm not streaming tomorrow. I'm going on a date with my wife, etc. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching all day. It was fun.